What's up, Higher Youth? Thank you so much for being here with us today. If this is your first time, welcome. My name is Tirsa.
And I am Ty. We hope that your summer has started off very well despite the unfortunate occurrences that is happening in our nation today. I want to say that I am so proud of those of you who are speaking out and educating others about our social rights. You are truly being the light.
Yes, y'all are, and we're sending you guys a huge hug right now. Did you guys catch Tirsa on the news? If you didn't, here it is.
Excuse me, why did you want to be out here today?
Because I feel like we're treated differently, and we just need to show appreciation for Black people and for George Floyd. Because there are so many Black lives that were taken because of police brutality. And we need to show, we need to have justice for our people.
Youth, we are so proud, and we're sending you guys a huge hug right now. Speaking of being the light, you can continue to share the love on June 8th, which is Best Friend Day. Make sure you're making your friends feel special, you checking in on them, their family, and just let them know that you care. You could even share something inspiring with them.
Let's not forget about Father's Day on June 21st. Start thinking about things you can do for a father, an uncle, or a role model. And look, just some ideas that you can go ahead and start playing around with in your brain is you can send them a quick text, you can call them, you can get them some Nike gear, or look, you can get fancy and you can take them out to dinner as long as you're wearing your mask.
Yep. Okay. Lastly, we want to invite you and all your friends to join us as we start our journey through the Summer Guide to Success.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. On to you, Terrence.
What's up, youth, and welcome back to another episode of Higher Youth TV. Like Tirsa and Ty said, we're starting a brand new series, Summer Guide to Success. Let's jump right into it. So our memory verse for the month is Romans 12:2. I need you to remember this, write it down, put it on your mirror, whatever you gotta do, make sure you know this scripture. It says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. So in case you tune off, your mom call you gotta go for whatever reason, I wanna give you the main point, okay? This is the main point of the whole message, so you have it. And that is, the key to a successful summer is following God's pattern. That's the main point of this message. We ain't getting nothing today. The key to a successful summer is following God's pattern. All right. So at the top of the year, I had my mindset on one thing. You probably had your mindset on it too, maybe not, but I think you did. You might have worded it differently, but for the most part, I feel like all of us were thinking about success. You know, how do I get better grades? How do I get into that college? You know, how do I get those muscles I want? You know, maybe I'm trying to get a car, I want to get a job. Whatever it is, we are all aiming for success, right? And that just continues to carry on in life. We want to be successful. I don't think nothing's wrong with it. I think it's natural. But here's the key. When it comes to success, it's usually gonna be some repeated steps that get you there, right? It's gonna be a pattern. What I've learned is after watching some of the greats like Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, it's the daily patterns, the things that happen consistently that lead to results. But our case is gonna be different because a bad pattern can lead to results as well. And we've been able to see that. Everything going on in the world with COVID-19, yeah, we couldn't have controlled this virus popping up, right? But because of our habits and the patterns that we consistently have in our daily lives, touching our faces, touching things, and not realizing how congested we really are, those patterns have led to this global pandemic. You know, patterns have led to systemic racism. I was proud of my sister for just how she represented Higher Youth at the march this week. We all were there, we marched for justice, for freedom, but it's been those patterns that have led to just this place of inequality. And that's the reason the title of today's message is Stop the Pattern, okay? So what is a pattern? Let's talk about that first, right? We need to know what a pattern is. Pattern means it's a regularity in the world, in human-made design or in abstract ideas. As such, the elements of a pattern repeat in a predictable manner. So, you got patterns when it comes to fashion, you got patterns when it comes to, like a model for actual, like the silhouette, they call that a pattern. But the patterns we're talking about is more so the things that we continue to repeat, the habits we continue to repeat, the way we live, and all of those things. That's what we're talking about. So I want y'all to see what God says about patterns. More importantly, patterns of the world. Because remember, our memory verse, right? Romans 12:2. And the part I want you to focus on is this first clause right here. Do not conform to the pattern of this world. But what does God say about patterns of the world? I'm glad you asked. Let's go to 1 John chapter 2, verse 15. It says, do not love the world or anything in the world. If anyone loves the world, love for the Father is not in them. And I know what you're saying, but man, I love ice cream. It's not saying that. You can love those things. You can have an affection for those things. But this scripture is more so talking about when your desire for the things of the world outweighs your desire for God. Let's keep going to verse 16. For everything in the world, like that ice cream, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life comes not. So the things of the world, they do not come from the Father, but from the world. Next verse. The world and its desires, the ice cream, pass away. But whoever does the will of God lives forever. So right here we see immediately that God is kind of giving us some cues. We know that there are two different types of patterns, either good patterns or bad patterns. And what God is showing us right in this moment, the bad patterns are attached to things of the world, money, sex, drugs, the lust of the flesh, fulfilling your desires. But there is a way that you can have patterns that show who God is. There is a way that you can have patterns that show that you are a higher you, that show that you have higher ways, that show that you live a higher life. So what I want you to do is, I want you to start thinking, I want you to really reflect as we begin to dive into this series. It's gonna be challenging. You're gonna really have to sit back and reflect on some decisions, because I know as things just starting to pop up during this 2020, we were fasting, and then, oh, real quick, y'all, I'm having twins. Yeah. We're having twins. We're uber excited. They're both boys, 2 kings. You already know what we're thinking. But yeah, I found out that we're having kids, right? Not only that, COVID hits. Not only that, just wanting to be more for my family, a better husband. And what I had to do is, I had to assess myself. I had to sit back and reflect and ask myself, the patterns that I have created, the patterns that I'm following, where are they gonna lead to? Are they gonna lead to disappointment, or are they gonna lead to failure? Are they gonna lead to anxiety, or are they gonna lead to peace? And to be honest, I wouldn't say things were bad, but as I really started reflecting on everything that was happening in our world, it made me realize, yeah, you got some patterns you need to change. You got some patterns that if you don't identify them and go ahead and address them head on, you ain't gonna be able to keep up with them twins. Because in case you don't know, if this your first time, I got 2 dogs too. They came way before the twins, now I got 2. So I got 4 kids, y'all. So one of the things God showed me was, you're not working out. How do you expect to be healthy? How do you expect to keep up with the pace of ministry, the pace of your family, if you're not healthy? So I had to stop the pattern of not working out, stop the pattern of eating bad. You can't go to Chick-fil-A every day. I'm sorry, you just can't. And I had to create some new patterns that were gonna lead to great results. So I want you to ask yourself this: whose pattern are you following? Are you following the world's patterns? Are you following Drake's pattern? Are you following Kobe's pattern? Great people. But remember what the scripture said: everything of the world, it passes away. I oftentimes share with our amazing team here at Hire Kids and Hire Youth that what we're doing is eternal. The impact that we will have as a ministry will never fade away. And that's the thing you want to be a part of. Those are the patterns you want to follow. God's will is eternal. And like I said with the main point, the key to having a successful summer is following God's pattern. But remember this, as I was thinking, I was like, okay, I got these patterns. What drives that pattern? Because I think it's one thing to just continuously to repeat something, but then to really search yourself and find out, why don't I, or why do I do these patterns? Why do I have these regularities that I repeat? I know with me and not working out I was lazy. I mean, I like sleep. My wife would tell you, I will sleep until it's nighttime. I love sleep. And I had to address that. So what I want you to hear is right here. If you want to have a successful summer, you got to find out what's that driving force. If you want to have a successful summer, you got to identify the wrong patterns that you've had and find some new patterns. Now, sometimes circumstances will make you, change patterns. And, that what helped me. I was looking in the mirror. I did not like what I see. So I was like, we got to change this. But then other patterns or other things that drive you is because of someone you know. And what I want to share with you is we're not just giving you a summer guide to success. We're giving you a life guide. And that's because of this right here. If you want to have a successful summer, if you want to have a successful life, if you want to be a Hire Youth, you got to ask yourself this question. What ye think of Christ? I know you like, what are you talking about? But we could pick back up more on this next week. Got to give you that cliffhanger. But ask yourself that, what ye think of Christ? Or better yet, what do you think of Christ? I was reading this book not too long ago, studying it, and it said, the key question to everyone's life is, what you think of Christ? And I truly believe that, and as I was reading and studying different scriptures and topics for this message, I really looked back on what changed in me. What made me want to stop the pattern? What made me want to, take up my mat? What made me want to pick up my cross and follow Christ daily? It's what I know about Jesus. And I encourage you, if you stay tuned to this series, we're gonna dive into some things that's gonna make you really assess your character, really assess the patterns you've had. But it's all gonna boil down to, what do you think of Christ? What do y'all think? We're gonna talk about that next week.
All right, well, that's it.
Wait, don't forget, June 8th is Best Friends Day. June 21st
It's Father's Day.
is Father's Day. We're here for you. We'll see y'all next week. Like, share, subscribe.
That too. Did y'all record it? I don't think they recorded.